Welcome to CMU. This video will show you how to apply for housing as an incoming first-year student. In order to access the housing application, you must have been admitted, paid your admissions deposit, and set up your Andrew ID. You can find more information about these steps on our website, cmu.edu/housing, and click on Incoming Students. Once you set up your Andrew ID, you will log into the housing portal using your Andrew ID and password. Once you've logged in, click Apply for Housing and select the academic year option for the upcoming school year and click Apply Now. This first page is some general information about housing. All first-year students are required to live on campus their first year. One important thing to remember is that we process applications in order of your admissions deposit date, not when you finish the application. So feel free to take your time with your application before submitting it, because once you submit, you're locked out from making any changes. Many students often decide to request a roommate or change their building preferences after they visited campus or met future classmates. The deadline to submit your application is May 31st, so we encourage you to wait until closer to this date to lock in your building and roommate preferences. Once you've read through this information, you'll click Save and Continue. This next page is your personal information. This information is pulled from the admissions office based on the information you gave them. If you do not see any information, or if you need to make changes, you'll need to wait until mid-May when you can access your Student Information Online account. For now, click Save and Continue. This page provides information for students requiring special housing accommodations. If you think this applies to you, read through this page and click the checkbox. You must also record the contact information for the appropriate office based on your needs, as you are responsible for contacting that office within 7 days of submitting this application. Please keep in mind that all special housing accommodation requests, including the need for medically necessary air conditioning, must be made through the appropriate office, such as Health Services. Click Save and Continue to continue with your application. For most students, the next page of the application is the Theme Living Communities page. However, we should note here that students who have been accepted into special academic programs, such as the Science and Humanities Scholars Program, will see an additional page called Academic Living Learning Communities. Students who wish to live in their academic LLC cluster with other students from their program should select it from the drop-down menu. If not, select No Thanks. Click Save and Continue. Please note that if you select to live with your academic LLC cluster group, you will be assigned to the building of that cluster regardless of the building preferences you list later on in the application. There are multiple themed living communities open to the entire first-year class. You can read more about these options available to you on this page. If you are interested in any of these communities, you should select it from the drop-down menu. You will then be directed to a page where you will submit a required essay to the specific themed community. If you opt into a themed community, you will only be able to select roommates who also applied to that themed community. If you are not interested in a themed community, select No Thanks from the drop-down menu, then click Save and Continue. This next page is your lifestyle questionnaire. You can move the bars to indicate your habits and preferences. We encourage you to answer these questions honestly, as this is how the system primarily determines compatibility with potential roommates. On the bottom, you'll see a question about winter break and a list of buildings that will be open for winter break. If you need winter break housing, be sure to list the open buildings as your top building preferences. Once you're done with your lifestyle questionnaire, click Save and Continue. On this page, you will set up your roommate profile. You should select this checkbox so others can search for you and view you as a potential roommate. You will also need to create a screen name. We suggest using your real name or your Andrew ID. You can also enter a brief description of yourself that prospective roommates can read. If you do not wish to be contacted by potential roommates, or once you've confirmed a roommate, you can uncheck the box. Once you are satisfied with your roommate profile, click Save and Continue. On this next page, you can search for potential roommates. You can search by Andrew ID if you have a specific roommate in mind, by profile responses to search for roommates with similar lifestyle preferences to you, or you can browse roommates that the system automatically generates based on overall compatibility. In general, a good roommate match is 60% or higher. We suggest that you use the Send Message feature to communicate to anyone you are interested in talking to more. You are only able to view people who have already started applications, so if you're applying early, we suggest you come back to your application at a later date to see more potential roommates. The system will save your responses, so feel free to log out and come back to your application at any point. Also, you can only request one roommate through the system at a time, so you should use the send message option until you are ready to confirm being roommates. Once you're officially ready to confirm roommates, you can request this through the system. If you don't want to select your own roommate, you can skip this part and finish your application. The system will assign a roommate to you based on your responses to the lifestyle questionnaire. To continue with your application and select your housing preferences, click Save and Continue. On this next page, you will indicate your housing preferences. You must select at least 5 different buildings, and you can select up to 3 room types within each building. All first-year students should expect to have a roommate, so you should select a variety of room types. Keep in mind that these are just preferences, and your final assignment will be made based on availability and your admissions deposit date. Some students may be assigned to a building that they did not list on their preferences. Once you've made your selections, click Save and Continue. This next page is your housing license agreement. If you are under 18, you will need to print the paper version of the agreement and have a parent or guardian sign it as well. Once completed, you can scan or fax it to us. Once we receive and process your signed agreement, you will receive an email from us with further instructions. If you are over 18 years of age, you will be able to sign the agreement online by clicking I agree. This last page completes your application. If you are still interested in browsing roommates and potentially finding your own roommate, or if you think you may want to update your building preferences at a later point, you should not complete this final step of your application, as you will not be able to make any changes or requests after this point. If you are ready to lock in both your roommate and building preferences, you may click Confirm and Complete to submit your application. As a reminder, the deadline to submit your application is May 31st, and the applications are processed based on your admissions deposit date, so you can take your time in searching for roommates as long as you submit by the end of the day on May 31st. We anticipate sending assignments around July 1st. As a reminder, you'll also need to apply for a meal plan through Dining Services. To access the application, click Apply for Dining and select the academic year. All first-year students are required to have a meal plan. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out to Housing Services at 412-268-2139 or email us at housing@andrew.cmu.edu. We look forward to seeing you in the fall.